Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another installment of Flyera Gonna Flyera. We got a good one for you today, episode number 53. We are just 11 days away from hockey season as we are recording this episode. We're going to be continuing our points little thing that we've been doing with the entire team, except today we're going to be doing goalie edition. And it won't be points, it'll be more statistics of the goalie, predicting what their stats will be and whatnot. We're going to be going over any potential concerns we may have the underperformance of some of the young talent so far in the training camp and preseason, and then talk about some positives to end it on a good note. What we're liking out of training camp and preseason. We got a good one. Enjoy, sit back, and relax because Flyer Gonna Flyer starts right here. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 53 of Flyer Gonna Flyer. Got a good one, as I just mentioned. This should be fun. We have just one more episode after this one until we get into the start of the regular season. So with that being said, let me introduce you to my two co-hosts today. Starting with the man below me, you know him, you love him, the seasoned vet, Mr. Jamey Baskow.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Aloha, mahalo. Flyer season's right around the corner. How you all feeling?
It's getting close. It's getting close. We're getting the goosebumps. Yeah. We're getting excited. It is time, baby. We're getting there. And not to leave him out, the man to my left, you know him, you love him. It's his second year here, Mr. Eric Martino.
What's up, boys? Yeah, man, that's music to my ears. We're like a week away from the regular season, a week and a half, something like that. Oh, I swear to God, I'm getting antsy right now.
Week from Thursday, 11 days. Travis Konechny days away from the start of Flyers regular season hockey. It's going to be a good one for you. So let's jump right into this. So we are continuing our points prediction pretty much breakdown. We did the top six. We did the bottom six. We did the defensemen. What about the goalies? Now, you're not expecting the goalies to get points, as I mentioned in the intro, but we're going to be doing a little bit of a breakdown of their statistical output. So the way you do this, wins, save percentage, goals against average. Those three main categories. What to expect, what we think from them. We're going to be doing Sammy Urson, Dan Vladar, and I think we might mix in Alexei Kolosov as well in case there's some injuries. We assume he'll probably be the number 3 goaltender for the team. So let's hop right into this. Mr. Baskow, why don't you lead us off? Let's start with Sammy Urson, the 1A of the Flyers team right now. What do you expect for a season from Samuel J. Urson?
Well, I'm expecting a bounce-back season, but to do that, he needs to stay healthy. I'm actually a little worried about both goaltenders right now, to be honest with you. So they don't the Flyers don't even know who their sixth defenseman is yet. You know what I mean? That's how much they're not popping. And honestly, I'm a little concerned about that because I think that could affect Urson's and Vladar's numbers, when they don't have a solid D-corps yet. The Rasmus Ristolainen injury has turned out to be the biggest thing of training camp because not one single defenseman, and to include Emil Andre, has yes, I should own that spot. And that's my problem. You have Emil Andre who's just skating out there. He's played okay. Adam Jennings has played okay. Helge Grans has been horrible. The Ethan Sampson injury, he was playing good up until he got hurt. So now that's, you know what I mean? So now that's, been affected. So there's not a Hunter McDonald. I'm going to be honest. I haven't seen nothing from him that paints me as he's the next, thing of the organization, on the blue line. They were hoping he'd, be a force back there physical wise. I'm not seeing it. I'd not. So to me, that's very concerning for any goaltender to include Alexei Kolosov or Carson Bjarnason, whoever gets recalled, you know what I mean? And stuff, so I'm hoping for a bounce back season from Samuel Urson, but I'm going to be honest. The Flyers have a little conundrum here because Noah Juleson has looked horrible. Dennis Gilbert, who I thought was playing well, just looks, you know what I mean? So it's not there's not a single defenseman that has popped outside of Cam York, outside of Travis Sanheim, outside of Jamie Drysdale, and stuff that makes me yeah, baby. Not a single one. And Nick Sealer, I think, has played, pretty solid hockey. But like aside from like Jamey, Travis, and Cam York, holy hell, there's a big question mark. I'm telling you that right now. So to be honest with you, I'm going into the season with an open mind for Samuel Eriksson and Dan Vladar, both of them, because I think that they can be, on the bad end of the stick because of the defensive breakdowns that we saw yesterday. Holy heck. People are saying that Helge Grans tripped. Yeah, he tripped over himself. I looked at the play over and over again, and I'm like, yeah, he tripped. Yeah, he tripped over his own feet. And if that's going to be what Samuel Eriksson is going into this season, I'm not feeling very confident at all. And I know that's a preseason game, and I know these mistakes should happen. But what I can see is it's not easing Flyers fans' mind going into the season. It's now there's no Samuel Eriksson, I thought played okay last night. To be honest, he allowed 4 goals, but two of the 4 definitely weren't his fault. I'd argue 3 of the 4, weren't his fault. So last night's product, if that's what we're getting, and granted, I know it's preseason, I get it. Like I said before, but if that is what we're going to get in the future here for Eriksson and Vladar, I'm not feeling confident at all.
If you get a Jamey rant where he is not positive, there might be an issue to talk about right now for sure. If you had to give me so let's just get right to, if you had to give me a statistical prediction for Sammy Eriksson right now, what would you give it? Wins, save percentage, goals against average.
To be honest, Alex, kind of hard to do that if that's what we're going to get last night, because I think his numbers can be skewed a lot by the defense, at least until Ristolainen gets healthy. Because I'm serious when I say this. I'm very concerned about the team. I'm no longer even concerned about the goaltending at this point. I'm concerned about the defense at this point. I don't know what they can do, because there are no trades to be had right now because everyone's going into the season. So I mean, no one's really like, oh, I need to get under the cap. Let me trade this guy. Florida's about to clear space here with the news to Barkov, and stuff. So they're looking for defensive help as well. You know what I mean? So, what I don't maybe 30 wins for Samuel Eriksson. And I'm being nice by that, because I don't know. Dude, it sounds like Tockett's going to go 1-1. It is like there's not. He'll run one for like 2 or 3 days and then run the other out. Sounds like he might bite off of John Tortorella, what he was doing last year with the goalie usage. One plays one game, the next plays the next. Unless they get like real hot. If they're real hot, then we'll think about consecutive nights. But it's going to be hard because the Olympic break is a big factor as well. And I say that because there's going to be a lot of games jumbled up there. So I don't know if he could. 30 games, I think, is a solid output from Samuel Eriksson. 30 wins, I guess. Save percentage, maybe .901. And I'm being, and it depends on D. Because again, I think his number is going to be skewed. I don't think it's going to give the whole story of how he's actually playing. And I don't even know about losses, man. I'm going to be honest. I'm really disappointed right now at the defense. The defensive makeup right now.
If you're like I said, Jamey telling it how it is in a negative perspective, that's how you know it's a concern right now. Eric, how about you? What do you got for a breakdown? Wins, save percentage, and goals against.
Well, for Eriksson, let's see. Like Jamey said, yesterday, I wasn't able to watch the game, but I watched the highlights, and I couldn't really see a goal that I could pin on him and saying, well, you know what, maybe you should have had that or whatever. I was there in the Montreal game. He did let in one really weak goal, 5 holes. So that was a little concerning. But again, that's probably just, rust, getting back into game shape, game, whatever. So look, from what I need to Urson, I need to see at the very least an 895. At the very least, I need to see an 895. Because look, I'm looking at his stats over his career now. Look, he's only played like 2 seasons as an actual, let's say, starter tandem, which he put up an 883 and an 890. The season before, so like 3 seasons ago, he put up an 899, but he only played like 12 games. So he's never hit 900. I would love, like Jamey said, if he could hit 901, I'll take that every day, any day, every day. Like, give me at least a 901, 900. And like we've said so many times, just give us league average goaltending, please. Can we just get league average goaltending?
Mm-hmm.
So that's honestly because I believe in Urson. I think you see the potential there. Now, do I think he could be like an elite number one? No, that's not what he is. But could he be a good tandem to a decent starter? Yeah, I think that's in the cards for him. But this year he's gonna have to prove it. And I want to see, like I said, at the very least, an 895. But I'd love to see him crack at least 900 and give me like a 2.8, like goals against average. That wouldn't be too bad. So as for wins, because I think that they're really gonna split probably almost down the middle, him and Vladar. I could see maybe Urson with about like 21 wins, 22 possibly. So yeah, because if he's gonna split with Vladar, yeah, that's what I would like to see from Urson.
Valid. So here's my breakdown. I agree with you, Eric, in terms of a split. I don't know if it'll be exactly 50-50, but maybe like a 55-45, 60-40 to Urson. It'll be more of a 1A, 1B that they ran in 23-24 with Hart and Urson before Hart got sent over to Guantanamo Bay. But the way this looks right now, I think Jamey makes some very good points. There's massive question marks at number 6. He has massive question marks at number 5. You feel comfortable with Igor Zamula being your number 5 defenseman, especially after that horrible gap he made against the Capitals? No, I don't. Their back pairing is a massive question mark. The top 4 has actually been pretty decent, pretty good, but that third pair is scary. Who's getting it right now? Adam Ginning is whatever. Hell's Grimes was terrible yesterday. Absolutely terrible. He's been terrible the entire camp. And he was one guy I was pointing to potentially push for a spot as you made. I think Emil Andre might be getting it just by default, to be honest with you. Like, he's got the most experience playing. So I think more likely than not, he's just going to be the guy that they say, all right, Andre at least showed some spurts last year before the second half, and he ended up struggling. So that bottom pair does concern me a bit. And then just Urson's durability. Like, that needs to be emphasized as well. This guy had a lingering groin injury that plagued him all year last year. Can he stay durable to the extent of a number 1 goalie? Or at least a 1A, I should say. I don't even think he's going to be the number 1. He's going to be the 1A, and Vladar will be the 1B. But in that aspect of things, I look at the goaltending. Can they battle some consistency? Can they get the feel where if one goalie struggles for a night, they feel comfortable enough to go to the other guy to let him get a reset for 2 games before going back to him and regaining his momentum and confidence a little bit in practice and morning skates and whatnot. I'm going to say Urson has another spot where he misses some time with an injury. So I would have said, if he stayed healthy, I would have probably had Urson about 45 games and Vladar about 37. But I'm going to say Urson does miss some time at some point. So I'm going to say he plays roughly 33, 34 games this year. And in that span, I think he wins 19 of them. I'll say 19, a 19-15 record. Because with Urson, I look at him, his highs are good. But when he has a bad game, the wheels just completely come off. And it's like a broken down Ford on the middle of the highway where the tire rolled about 20 miles down the road. The check engine light just came on. The gas cap went flying for no damn reason. And it's moving like Elmer Fudd's car in friggin' Looney Tunes. It's ugly. So with that being said, Urson needs to learn to make sure his lows aren't as low as they were last year, where the team still has an opportunity to at least maybe squeak out a game. So I'm going to put him at 19 wins and 34 games played. And I'm going to say save percentage, I'll put it at .899. It will be better than last year. If you look at his numbers, they have progressively regressed each of the last 3 years, but that's just in a small vacuum. He has not gotten a 900 save percentage, as you mentioned, Eric. He was bad last year, but he was still the best of the 3 Flyers goalies, which is scary. But I do think he'll be better, especially I think he'll gain more confidence, and I think he won't let his lows be as low. That's the thing. Because he would have games last year where he allowed 5 goals on 16 shots and get pulled. And that's going to put an anchor on your freaking save percentage. I'll put his goals against average at 2.9 flat. It is a scoring league now. I think it was like 3.14 or something like that last year. So I think we'll see some slight improvement there too. I don't expect him to be a true number 1, but I think he'll at least show some progress there. Eric, let me start with you this time. How about Vladar?
Well, like you all know, I'm actually kind of high on Dan Vladar. And with Erson's injury history and like it just seems like he'll always miss time a couple of times a year. And I honestly think that Vladar might actually end up being the 1A by the end of the season. So I actually expect Vladar to put up some pretty good numbers. Now look, Vladar's always he's been he was a backup in Boston. He was pretty much a backup in Calgary once Dustin Wolf showed what he can do. So I think he might actually, take this opportunity and seize it. So like I've mentioned before on this pod, if you actually break down his numbers game by game, and like there was a couple games that really brought down his numbers last year, and again, not all his fault. So I don't know. I'm expecting Vladar to actually play pretty well. I would love to see like a 905. Give me like a good at the very least a 905. Possibly like I think you can give me like same thing, like about a 285 or something like that goes against average. And I think he could get like a good 27 wins on the season if he ends up taking over the reins and becoming the number 1. Like 27, I don't think 27 wins, maybe even 30 is out of the question for him.
I like the confidence. I know you've always been high on Vladar, but if he can show that, that would go a long way for this team. Jamey, how about you? Expectations for Vladar?
Again, I'm a little concerning, because of the defensive situation that the Flyers are faced in, at least until November, December, until Rasmus Ristolainen comes back. So I think his numbers are also going to be skewed, and I don't think it's going to be, on a nightly basis. I don't think it's going to be necessarily his fault that, they have allowed, anywhere from 3 to 7 goals per night. It's just unfortunate with the way that no one's grabbing a hold of the 5th and 6th defensive spots here, that people will be giving it, players are going to be giving it just to be giving it, and that's the conundrum the Flyers face themselves with right now. So I'd say for Vladar, I'm looking at about 18 wins, somewhere around 17 18 losses. I think it's going to be like 18 and 17. Again, I think he'll sit at a .898, .897, and it's not. Eric has sold me on Vladar. Again, I don't think it's going to be Vladar. Hey, oh my God, Vladar has been horrible. I don't think you're going to see many of those games. I just think they're going to be a bifocal of unfortunate defensive issues.
So, with that being said, I look at Vladar right now in a vacuum, and I emphasize this concern with him is I don't know how he's going to handle the larger workload. His career high is 30 starts coming into this. I expect him to beat that this year. So with that being said, I think he's going to be potentially pushing 40. I think Erson, like I said, my prediction is Erson does have another injury that causes him to miss time because it just seems like a reoccurring thing with him. And I think Vladar ends up playing more games than Erson as a whole this year. Doesn't mean I don't think Kolosov is going to take over a large chunk, but he'll get some backup time like that. I'm going to put Vladar at we'll say 39 starts. So it's a career high for him. And I'll put him at, I'll say 19 wins. So that would put the two of them combined at 38 at that point. So 19 wins, save percentage of .902. I think you're going to see similar production in Calgary, but as Jamey has mentioned prior, he had to go, by the way, so he will not be joining us for the rest of the show. But as mentioned prior, .902 save percentage will be just based off of his consistencies. His lows are not as low as Samuel Ersson has shown in Calgary last year and in St. Louis prior to that. So I think Vladar will show more consistency. He won't be flashy where he steals you games, but he'll at least give you a chance to win most nights that he plays. So I'll give him a .902 save percentage, 19 wins, and a .293 goals against average.
Can I give an opinion?
Go right ahead.
Okay, so I'll go quick. I got for both goalies. I think you're right about splitting. I'm gonna do this just for the two goalies, not even considering Kolosov here.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they'll probably split, and you might be right about Ersson having a little bit of injury time. So I'm gonna go Ersson, 19 wins. By the way, I did a prediction, so I've got a number of wins for Philadelphia, so I'm gonna be in there. 19 wins. 305 goals against and an .895 save percentage for Ersson.
Respectable.
For Vladar, I've got a lot more confidence in Vladar going into the season, to be honest. I'm not going to give him a ton more wins because I've got to limit it. But 20 wins, a .275 goals against, and a .901 save percentage. I think Vladar is going to give you the kind of goaltending that is good enough to win. But maybe defensive problems might be, a thing there, an issue. And I think Ersson might still struggle. I don't know why. I just get this feeling that we're doing this. I did all this before you guys really got. I figured I'll get into this, so I was just thinking of it now. But I think that's pretty reasonable.
That's fair. Yeah, those are respectable numbers. I wouldn't give you much pushback on that at all. That'd be 39 wins, which is about what we expect for them this year for wins.
Yeah.
All right, let's do a hot minute on Kolosov real quick. Won't be long. Eric, give me a quick breakdown on him, assuming he gets a little bit of time.
Oh, this is a little bit of a tough one because I don't expect Kolosov to get into too many games this season. Because I feel like if Ersson does get hurt and he doesn't miss like a super extended period of time, like if he gets hurt but he misses like maybe like 3-4 games here or there, like I think they're just gonna probably end up riding Vladar, or maybe if Kolosov does come up, like maybe give him one game. And look, like from what I've seen in the preseason, he looks a little better, but still a couple of times has given up like a weak goal. Like he gave one up against, like again, I was at the Montreal game. I saw him give up 1 week one against Montreal. I think he gave another week one. I think it was Washington. I can't remember. Remember reading about it. But yeah, no. So look, I expect him to maybe be a little better. So let's see, maybe he gets into like, again, if Ersson doesn't miss a super extended period of, so maybe he gets into 5 games, possibly. I'd like him to improve on his numbers from last year. I don't think that's a stupid thing to say, but like,
yeah, no kidding.
Did it really get that much worse? Okay, like, look, please try and give me like at least an 890, at least like an 8. I'll take an 890. 5 games in a 5-game sample, maybe like 3.15, 3.1, yeah, something like that. Yeah, so I think that's more or less what I'm expecting from Kolosov. But again, for him, I'm really looking for him to put up big numbers in the AHL. Like that's what I want to see from him. Like just be there pretty much all season and like work on your craft. Stop letting those like really weak goals. And hopefully in a year, 2 years, maybe we got something there.
You know what? I think you hit the hammer on the nail. Like this year for Kolosov should be building his game, building his confidence after that turbulence of a season last year and even 2 years ago where things almost went off the rails and he almost lost the prospect. He ended up coming here. He kind of pushed his way in the NHL just to make him happy. I think he feels more comfortable with his role now in the AHL. It doesn't sound like he's been an off-the-ice issue at all. So his numbers were horrific last year. 3.59 goals against average, 0.867. But you saw signs. You saw sparks where when this kid was on, he looked really good. So that's why you look at him and it's like he can't really give up on the prospect yet. He's still young. He's going into he's still only 23. He's not going to be 24 for another couple months. So when you look at Kolosov, two things I want to see from him this year. As I just mentioned, building some consistency and comfort out in the AHL, as you just mentioned, Eric. Try to work on your craft where you can be looked at an emergency NHL call-up and say, all right, at least this kid can maybe steal us a game or two for a short time for 2 or 3 weeks. If, he ends up being forced to play while Sammy Erson's battling injury or whatnot, he can be someone you look at. It's like maybe he can put up a 0.895 or something like that and try to be respectful. And number 2, don't let your lows be very low. As he was similar to Urson in that aspect of things last year. He showed the sparks where he looked really good at times, but then he showed times where he looked awful. The wheels would come off, and it was like a car that exploded off the side of the highway. It was bad. So try to limit your lows to where they're not Grand Canyon lows. I think Kolosov now knows what he's gotten from the NHL and even the AHL after last year. He looked confident in the AHL when he played there last year, and he did not look nearly as overwhelmed. And I think his key, as I just mentioned, is building that confidence up where he can be called on. You can at least look at where he can give you a chance. I have him at 9 starts this year. His 34 plus 39 is 73. That leaves 9 remaining starts. I'll give him the remaining 9. I'll give him 3 wins. I'll give him a 0.894 save percentage. And I'll give him, I'll say a 2.98 goals against average. I think he does show some more comfort. I think he'll have maybe 2 wet fart games in there, but he'll have 4 of those losses will be like, okay, could have been worse. At least he was respectable. And then he'll have like a game or 2 where he looks excellent. Another one he does enough to win. So I'll go with that as a final breakdown. Anything else you want to add before we move on?
Well, I just want to say quick, Rick Kolosov. Look, last year I was ready to write this guy off. I'm like, I really didn't like what he was doing. I really didn't like everything that was going on with him. But look, everything that I've been hearing now about him, it's like he's really embracing I think he saw what happened last year and he's like, I can't, I want to have a future in this league and I can't do it that way. Yeah. And I want to credit, I'm pretty sure it was on PHLY that I heard this, that it was Charlie O'Connor was talking about it, how last year as the third goalie, he was always the last one on the ice and the first one off the ice. He really wasn't putting in the time and the effort that he should be to especially that you're not in the AHL, you should be at least doing some extra time with the on the ice with the big team, trying to get your game. And apparently it just wasn't for him. And he had mentioned, he was saying, now this year, the big change he's seen in Kolosov is that, he's he's the first one on the ice, and now he's the last one off the ice. He's really in training camp, really putting in the time, putting in the effort. He's more comfortable. So I think they must have had some either, and he mentioned it also, Charlie O'Connor was mentioning that I think he thinks that the big issue with Kolosov last year is he had the wrong people in his ears, telling him, no, you're too good for this league. You're too good for the HL. You should be in blah, 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 blah.
He had an epiphany, we'll call it.
Yeah. Honestly, I think that's what it is. I think that's exactly what happened. And maybe a rational person or a smart person got into his ear and said, listen, kid, if you how could you look at these numbers and say that you were ready for the NHL? You're clearly not. You're clearly not. You need to work on your game. And the best way to do it is to go to the AHL. So look, I'm really happy that he changed his mindset and that now he's willing to put in the work, willing to go down to Lehigh Valley to be the starter there. Because honestly, look, because like I think you had mentioned it towards the end of the season for Lehigh Valley when he was there, he was playing well. He figured it out and he was playing well. Personally, I think if we would have had him in the playoffs, like maybe I'm not saying we beat Hershey, but maybe we had a better chance than because after what was his name Gahagan, after he got hurt, we had to deal with fucking Peterson or Peterson, whatever the fuck. It was just god awful.
Is he even still in the league now?
He signed somewhere in the oh man, he is. I know he signed somewhere.
I'm curious, because I haven't heard his name once after he got cut.
I don't know if it's Carolina. I want to say Carolina.
Let me see. I'm gonna do a quick Google search on that. I'm curious.
But anyway, but just to say, like, I'm really, really happy that like he's finally on the right track because, like you said, also the potential is there. You see it, man. This guy's got some quick feet, man. He goes post to post like nobody's business. So if he could put it all together, sorry,
Minnesota Wild, he's on.
That's it. Okay. No, that's it. Like, if he could put it all together, like, we've got something here. So, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed on Kolosov. I think you hit the hammer on the nail here. Work ethic is big. You don't have the work ethic in the mindset of wanting to succeed, you're not going to succeed in this league. So, exactly. I think the mental game has definitely changed in the positives because the last 2 years we heard nothing but bad things about him off the ice. It looks like that mindset pulled a 180 and he's ready to at least work for his job. So, that's good. All right, so let's move on to some more training camp talk. The lows have been low, and the young kids have been concerning. There has maybe been one player, we'll talk about him in a minute, that has probably been like, okay, there's something there. But maybe outside of maybe Grabankin, no one else has really stood out in training camp in a positive manner from the young group. Luchenko, Grimes, Bump, Hunter McDonald, the names go on. Ginning. Eric, are you concerned right now about the major bumps in the road from the young group? Do you feel like this is something that Flyers Nation should be hitting the panic button about? Or maybe is this just, as I just mentioned, a bump in the road and the chinks in the arm? I mean, what's needed to make a player get better?
Well, look, am I concerned? I'll say a little bit. I'm not like going off the deep end. They all suck. No. It's like they're young. Like these guys are young. Like I'll try and break it down by player. But like, as for Alex Bump, let's say, okay, on it. Like I've said it before on this show, I did not expect him to make the Flyers. I did not. What I think for him, the best thing would be to get top 6 minutes in Lehigh to develop your game more properly. Because look, he's coming straight out of college, and again, look, he's a little on the older side. I think he's 22, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so.
21,
Yeah.
something like that. Anyway,
I mean, I'll do a quick search on that too.
Yeah, so like you going straight from college to the NHL, it's unless you're like some kind of like elite player, like it's tough. It's tough. Like
21 will be 22 in November, by the way.
Okay, perfect. So that's it. So I think, and look, like he's shown what I've seen from him so far, and what highlights that I've seen, people that I'm reading and podcasts I'm listening to. So again, like, sorry, I can't watch the game. I have a hard time watching the games because of blackouts in Canada and whatever. It's only on, and I don't have a VPN. And anyway, but everything that I've heard, and it's like he's close though. Like you see some positives and you see some negatives. So like, look, I was there again. I was there watching the Montreal game, and one big issue that a lot of people say about Bum, and he really has to be careful with this. And I saw it happen, and I saw him get absolutely railed. Is when he cuts into the slot, you got to keep your head up and watch out because he likes to do that. And then what happened? He got blown the fuck up. Like I literally was watching it right there. I just saw him go. Pew! It was, but like, look, these are little things that he has to work on in Lehigh Valley, and honestly, it's the best thing for him. Go there, like develop your game, and then who knows? November, December, January, there's an injury or something. The coach is like, no, this kid's ready, and then you come up. Like, big deal, no big deal. Luchenko, it's not that I'm disappointed with his camp in general. Again, him too. Everything I've seen and everything I've heard, it's that he's been okay. He's been good. He hasn't been bad, but he hasn't been like standing out either.
Yeah.
So he's just been solid. He's just been like solid, you know. So again, now for him, I think the best thing would be to go to the AHL, but obviously he can't because these stupid rules.
Yeah.
I was really hoping that they were gonna change that rule for the season, but apparently they're not. They're not gonna implement it this season. So far, it doesn't look like that's gonna happen. So that one's tough because for me, personally, going back to juniors, what's it gonna like? Unless he's traded to like the London Knights or something, what's the point? I don't want him to waste another year in Guelph. And people are coming out, yeah, but you know he can work on his shot there and he work on yeah, but if it for what? Like you're gonna try and set up a bunch of scrubs, like they can't fucking finish. Like they can't. Like what do you want?
Organization.
It's not honest. I think I've said this before, even on this show. I think the best thing for him, because he can't go to the AHL, is send him to Europe. I know it sounds stupid, and maybe I don't even know if it's allowed. I think it is. But like, look, we have Sami Kapanen that's coaching a team in Finland. We have Alex Siernik is playing on that team this year. Why can't we send him there? Again, if the player agrees to this,
yeah,
I think that would be the best thing for him. Because honestly, going to back to juniors, like for what? To be on a bottom feeder like Guelph? What's it gonna do? Anyway? So as for the rest of the kids, I've been really, really disappointed in Helge Grans, like super disappointed. He's really like I had high hopes for him from from what I saw for him last year in the few games that he played in the NHL. He looked really good. Everything that I read about him in the AHL and in the AHL playoffs, that he was really good. And now I'm watching him in camp, and like even against Montreal, like thank God he didn't get burned that often, but like he was getting beat to the outside like so often. And I was like, I don't know if there's something he has to work on. No, look, again, the problem with him is that he's not waiver exempt, so they have to put him on waivers. But again, like I don't know if people are gonna see this preseason and be like, well, no, what's the point? Like I think he might just clear. But a guy with his size, his potential, you never know. The team might just snag him up, So yeah, I'm really disappointed in him. Emil Andre, I find it's a weird situation because please correct me if I'm wrong, but I was looking at the lineup and he only played that first preseason game against the Islanders and hasn't played a preseason game since. So I find that a little weird. And I thought I heard that he had a pretty good game against the Islanders. Like I checked, he had like 18 minutes a game. Like he didn't have any points, but he was solid from everything that I heard. But hasn't got into a game since. So I don't know what's happening there.
I got a theory on that. I'll explain it afterwards, but continue.
Yeah, but honestly, those are my big necks. Everybody else, I don't really expect to make the team.
Yeah.
But I'll get into the positives later, and I'll let you go. Give me some negatives.
All right.
Can I interject for a sec about Luchenko and
Go
something
right ahead.
that Eric said, that if he could go to the London Knights, sometimes these teams can arrange that kind of thing with a player that they don't really want on the team in junior, and they can get it arranged so he can be traded. Maybe that's an option. That's all I wanted to say.
So I'm actually going to start with Luchenko because it is funny you mentioned this. One thing about Luchenko that stands out to me when it comes to the OHL, he got his C removed from him. He was a captain of that team. He's not the captain anymore. Now, I might just be reading too much into this, but usually if a guy gets the C removed, there's something up behind the scenes. I think a trade with him is a lot more realistic. Now, if that trade happens, I am more than open for him starting in the OHL. More than fine with that. Because out in Guelph, this kid, as you mentioned, Eric, hit the hammer on the nail. He's playing with friggin' plumbers and electricians. He's not going to get much going there. He's going to be setting up guys like me, you, and Rick to try and score. It's not going to work that well. You need to get this kid some legitimate talent out in a place like the London Knights that has been loaded with Flyers prospects over the years. Denver Barkey, Oliver Bonk, et cetera, et cetera. Those guys right there, it would be comforting to have him go to a team like that. Luchenko, one thing that always has stood out of me is how good of a skater he is. I think I saw a comp on social media. I can't remember who said it, but he's Noah Cates, but a better skater. And I think that is a pretty good comp for him. You know, he plays a solid two-way game. Not much of an offensive game but I do think there is definite room for improvement there. As we mentioned, if he could start in the AHL, it'd be fucking perfect. But we're not going to get that until next year. I think if he started in the AHL this year, I think next year there was a real good chance he would have been a full-timer in the NHL. But alas, that is not happening, so we'll see what happens at that point. I think right now I give him a 75% chance of starting in the OHL. It could, but we'll see. I originally said that I thought Bump and Grabankin would make the roster. Now I don't even think Bump is. Bump, I put it like at 10. He has been rough. That gap at the end of the first period against the Bruins yesterday has pretty much been a microcosm of his training camp, where he was continuing to impress and impress and impress. You know, summer off-season workouts, he looked great. He looked great last off-season. He was great in college. He was part of the national championship team out in Western Michigan. This kid looked like he was rocking and ready to roll as a steal of a fifth-round pick, and I still think he will be that. Don't get me wrong. I still think he will end up being a future middle, maybe even second-line guy in this team. But where we are right now, I think marination in the AHL, where you mentioned getting top 6 minutes, would absolutely be best for him until he feels comfortable enough. And who knows? He could be a mid-season call-up. Maybe he plays good for the first month or two. He's there. They get an injury or two, and they say, all right, Bump, you earned your spot here. It's time to give you the opportunity to roll out with the big boys in the middle six and see what you got. So I'm not ruling him out playing it all this year at all, even with the rough start. Grimes, this is rough. It stinks because he looked like someone that could push for that bottom pairing role. Maybe you could finally send Igor Zamula to the seventh defenseman role that he needs to be at. He's been terrible. He was not good in that Montreal game. He was even worse yesterday in the Boston game. And this was against Boston's C team. They didn't have much out there yesterday. And he did not look good at all. And that's concerning. I do think if he gets put on waivers, he will get claimed. As you mentioned, the size is a big reason to go after. Big size defensemen are not a disposable commodity in this league. It's something that people do see value in. So I do think it's a greater chance than not that if you put him on waivers, you might not have him anymore. But what are you going to do? You're going to keep him here to start the year when he clearly does not look like he's deserved it? And Emil Andre. It's funny you mention that with the Isles. This is my theory on this. I have nothing to back this up. This is just my theory. They don't want to risk injury with this kid over these last few games. He played good in the Isles game, and they have seen the group around him that they feel like that if they play him right now and he happens to get hurt, they're in trouble. They're in big trouble at that bottom pairing. So they're probably looking at this as like, Andre at least showed something at the beginning of the first half last year. Hell, we had almost a full episode dedicated last season to how good he was playing. He was somewhere in the 30s. I don't remember the exact number, or maybe 20s. I don't know. But he was playing good that we had to freaking give him his props. You know, he's got some offensive flair. He can maybe be a fill-in on the power play if he ends up doing well there. I know the second half of the year didn't look too great, but I think Andre looks like the most likely option for that bottom six guy. Adam Ginning is another guy I was hoping to see something with. You convince this guy to stay here instead of going overseas, and he still looks like he's just lumped into the AHL. And at some point, these young kids aren't young kids anymore. They have to push for a lineup spot. They have to show you something. I think Ginning's, 24 at this stage? 25? I can't remember the exact. I think he's 24. Don't quote me on that. But at some point, you've got to push for the lineup. You do. And maybe be a bottom pairing guy. I think Zamula Andre is the most likely start for the third pairing, and maybe they have Dennis Gilbert be the seventh defenseman, because I don't want Noah Juleson anywhere near this fucking league. Nowhere near this team. You're talking about a horror show. That guy hasn't done a single positive thing yet. Send him on waivers and let someone else pick him up. that signing was a whiff and a half. I've already seen enough. At least Gilbert can show me something as a seventh defenseman. And Oliver Bonk and Denver Barnkey, the London Knights kids. Barnkey's been decent. Bonk has been decent. Nothing special, but decent. I hope to see the two of them in the AHL this year. Oliver Bonk looks like a guy that wants to be here. Jamey mentioned it last episode. He has, or maybe a few episodes ago, he has spent the summer here in Philly. He loves being a Flyer. He's embracing being a Flyer. Oliver Bonk is one of those kids I want to see succeed. Just because there was some pushback of what you could have got in that draft spot. Gabe Peralt was still available. Cristal out Washington was still there. You could have got one of those kids. But Bonk still looks like he's going to be a productive, potentially a second pairing productive defenseman in this league. I want to see him really give the Flyers a difficult decision to make. I don't think he makes the team. I think he gets at least a year in the AHL. I don't think he's really that likely to be a call-up. Oh. But next year, it could be Bonk time. It could be time to pull out the gift with the dog where you hit him over the head and it just goes bonk because I'm ready to bonk. So I want to see that kid succeed. He has looked like he has really embraced being here, and he looks like someone that you could have a real future in. And same with Barkey. Yeah, Rick Tocchet called him TK Light, and that's honestly what I considered him for a while. Now, that's a real good friggin' praise for a third-round pick. Denver Barkey looks like one of the steals going back. What did they draft him in 2023? I think it was. Or 22?
24?
Was it 24? I don't think it was.
No, that's too far back.
No, I think it was 23. Hold on. It was, I'm going to do a quick Google search. 23. It was 23.
Okay. It was 23.
So, with that being said, like, you've got something there with that kid. I think I've been raving about him for months. People are for years, actually. People are starting to see it. I think he's a top 5 prospect in this group. I do. Even still today. So, with that being said, am I concerned about the kids as a collective whole? To an extent, because I wanted some of them to push for a roster spot. Grabeckin's been good. He's been the only guy I consider that has been good. And that was a guy some people with the team had shown concern with going into the year. That he was starting to get I've heard one or two people report that he kind of had a little bit of a Kolosov type attitude coming in, but he's pretty good. I think he deserves to get a roster spot on this team. And it's another guy that makes Matvei Michkov feel comfortable too. With maybe make Zamula eventually more expendable. But with that being said, I am disappointed at some of these defense players, especially defensemen that haven't really stepped up, especially Grans. I was hoping he could push for that bottom pairing spot, but I'm not worried long term. It's just a little discouraging that you're probably going to have to run Igor Zamula as your bottom pairing defenseman for another year until Ristolainen's back in a month or two. Anything else you want to say, Eric?
No, I just want to say because, look, I know, Jamey when he was on before was really discouraged about the defense, and
depressed Jamey is bad. Remember that.
Look, I want to say this. I don't think it's as bad as it looks. Because look, at the end of the day, our top 4 is still really fucking solid. Really
There's
solid.
No number 1 defenseman. You got 3 guys who have the potential. Well, 1 that already could be, but 3 that have a potential of being a number 2.
Yeah, and look, at the end of the day, Nick Seeler rounds out that 4. Nick Seeler's a good defensive defenseman. You need one of those guys to play with, to play with a Drysdale or York, but they're both they're both lefties, so he's not gonna play with York. Honestly, ideally, if they could somehow separate York and Sinai and bring in another defenseman and really top out that really round out that 6, that would be amazing. But I just don't see that happening. But look, our top 4 is solid. Yes, the bottom pair is a bit of a concern. I think Andre is more than capable. I think because at the end of the day, too, right, you could always just now it's not ideal, but you could always just run your top 2 pairs basically almost into the ground, and only give your bottom pair 10 minutes a game, 12 minutes a game. It's not gonna kill you. Yeah. And look, like I said, Andre is way more than possible. He's capable. We saw it last year, and again, the Islanders game, he looked good. And as far as I've heard, everyone covering the training camp has said he's looked good even in practice. So I have no concern there. And look, as much as we rag on Zamula, if we need him to play a couple months on the bottom pair, it's not the biggest deal. Look, Dennis Gilbert. Look, I have a buddy of mine who's a Sens fan, and we were because he played for the Senators last year, and like he's like, look, Gilbert's nothing special, but he's solid. He could be like he's a bottom pair. He's decent on the bottom pair. Like he's not gonna kill you. And even against Montreal when I was there, like I saw him play, and he played well. Gilbert played well. So look, if we have to ride either Zamula or Gilbert until Risto's healthy and ready to come back, I don't see it as much as a concern as maybe Jamey does. But that's only because like I think our top four is really good. So that's it. And look, but you're right. At the end of the day, I would have loved Grons to seize that 6th spot. Just for the simple fact that he's a natural right hand, he's a natural righty, and we don't have anybody to play that bottom pair on, like, because Noah Juleson, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's a righty also, but like he's just terrible. So I really don't think he's gonna. I would be shocked if he's not waived. I would be shocked. But yeah, no, like look, and like you said, Grabenkin. Oh man, he was in my way too early lineup. Like I think everything I've heard about this kid is just awesome, and like he's showing it in the preseason. He's showing it at training camp. Like this kid can play, and like I said previously, I think his game. You could put him on like in the top 6, or you could put him in the bottom 6. He'll just adapt his game to that position. So yeah, no, I'm really happy that he's really taking the bull by the horns and he's going, man. And if he could turn into that kind of like that power forward, because the kid's got some size.
Yeah.
If he could, like, we lack like legit power forwards. So if he could become
until Martone's here, at least, yeah.
Exactly, but like we have nobody that plays that kind of game. And just like what was his biggest strength in Lehigh Valley last year was net front presence, especially on the power play. If we could put this guy net front, at least on the second power play unit, like it's another tool. It's another tool in the toolbox. Like let's go.
Wayne Simmons would be proud.
Exactly. So it's like no, he's making the team guaranteed.
Yeah.
Some positive, like look, Abel has looked really good. I gotta give it to the guy. Like he's looked really good this training so far in training camp. So yeah, no, but so yeah, maybe he makes the team as a 13th forward, or 14th, because you still have to have Delory in the lineup. Don't know why, but well, I know why, but so yeah, no, like but that's it. I just wanted to say that I'm not as down on the defense.
Yeah. I'm going to start off with some of the positives I like. Number one, and this one I'm going to emphasize. I know I got one specific follower that's going to love this. Jamey Drysdale's the real fucking deal.
Oh, yeah.
He is the real fucking deal. The Jamey you saw in the second half is the new fucking Jamey Drysdale. He is going to break the fuck out this year. He, in my opinion, he's been their best defenseman in camp. No questions asked. He has been dynamite. I think York was a little better yesterday as a whole, but Jamey Drysdale overall in camp and in preseason has been fabulous. And I'm watching and I'm about to get into this as my second major plus, but I'm watching them on the Flyers power play yesterday, and their power play with him leading it looked fluid. And I've always emphasized this. Outside your superstar, the most important guy in the power play is your power play quarterback. They got the defenseman who makes the right decision, which winger to get the puck to, whether to shoot for the redirect or the screen, et cetera, et cetera. That guy is massively important. And Jamey just looks so comfortable back there. And that leads me to my next major positive. Did you watch that Flyers power play yesterday?
Oh, my God.
Looked fucking competent. It looked fucking competent. Don't go a step further. It looked really fucking good. They had 2 power play goals yesterday. Even the power plays they didn't score on. That second power play, they had great opportunities and chances. They didn't score, but they were moving the puck around. They were making quick passes, smart decisions, getting good quality shots on net. They looked smooth. That friggin', oh my God, and this leads to another positive. That Mitch Koff to Zegras goal. That was a work of art. Oh my fuck. Oh my fuck. That was gross. I was convinced Mitchkov was shooting the puck on that third goal, and he just finds Zegras on the right side of the net to just blow an easy tap-in one-timer. That was gross. That was fucking gross. And this is another positive. Trevor Zegras needs to be the guy that takes the puck into the offensive zone every time. He looks so efficient at it. He looks so smooth at it. This is something that has been the biggest plague in the Flyers' offensive power play scheme for the longest time. They haven't had a Jake Voracek type that could do that, as you've mentioned before. Now, Zegras is in Voracek. They play do different styles, but he looks so smooth getting the puck into the zone. I no longer have to worry about a minute fire drill of just dump and chase, puck clears, kill another 20 seconds. Trying to get the puck in, maybe get a pass or two off. It's deflected, cleared again. And it just sounds like a power play all day. They look smooth. They look competent. This is not going to be a bottom five power play this year if this is what you see on a regular. They look very good. Now, will I say they're going to be an elite power play? I'm not going to do anything that crazy yet. But they look like something that we have emphasized. This definitely looks like it has the potential of a top 20 power play. And that's one of my big positives of training camp is their power play looks fucking competent, which is something we haven't had in years since pre-Torts, and they've needed this. Other positives, Mitchkov looks great. That's obvious. And him and Zegras just as a duo in general, like I just kind of talked about with the power play, they look like they have been attached at the hip. And I've been reading stuff. They seem like they're the last two off ice. They're fucking around with each other. They're doing these fun shootout things. And, Zegras really looks like he has got his mind in the right mindset. He's ready for a fresh start. He looks rejuvenated. He looks like someone that's ready to make a statement this year. I really feel like this guy's going to push for 60 points easy, especially with Mitchkov. Those two are about to feed off of each other. And I understand that Zegras' face-off issues are still a concern, but having guys like Couturier and Dvorak that could bump that up, I expect a bump in his face-offs this year. Now, we saw a line the other night, yesterday actually, of Dvorak, Zegras, Mitchkov. I don't know if I want to keep Dvorak as his winger, especially since he hasn't had that much success at the wing. I get it for the face-off possibilities in his two-way game. I personally rather have Tyson Forster there. I get you break up the line that everyone falls in love with Brink Forster and Cates, but I think Forster is a top six guy, and he deserves to play with guys like Mitchkov and Zegras, and he has a two-way game that can help with that. I take the slight sacrifice on faceoffs that I do anticipate Zegras showing some improvement on this year, but I take that sacrifice, getting a guy like Forster attached at the hip of Zegras and Mitchkov, and then maybe run a second line of Couturier, Konechny, maybe Tippett. We'll see who gets that. It could even be Grabankin. Who knows? There's talk of who's going to be pushing for that second line left wing spot. And then maybe, or if not him, maybe you put Grabankin on the third line as a replacement for Forster with Cates and Brink. Who knows? He is a bigger body. He can play the net front, as you've said. So there's positives there too. Cam York, he looks refreshed. Cam York looks like someone that is ready to fucking prove everyone wrong after last year. I said Drysdale's been their best defenseman. I think Cam York's been their second best. He's been really damn good. He looks like someone who's ready to make a statement this year. And I think he deserves some power play time. Hopefully he gets the second pairing, and we'll see what goes from there. But Cam York looks like a man on a mission this year to have a rebound year and look like the Cam York we saw 2 years ago in 23-24. Trying to think some of the pause off the top of my head. Obviously, Grabankin, he has showed up. And that's probably, and Cates and Brink still look like they got the same chemistry together. And if they start with Cates, Brink, and Forster, I get it. I just would like to see Forster elevated. But Cates, Brink, and Forster don't like they've missed much of a beat either. How about you, Eric? Give me some positives.
Well, I'm going to piggyback a lot of what you just said because, look, the power play looks absolutely incredible with Drysdale, Zegras, and Mishkov. Oh, my God. Because last year, you saw, I feel bad for Drysdale because, look, he missed a lot of time last year also because of injury and everything.
He's healthy now.
Yeah, exactly. He's healthy now. Plus, Now it looks like maybe we have a competent power play coach. If I may say, I don't know, but it looks like just the way. Again, I was just watching the highlights. Just the way they were moving on that power play, I'm like, I've never seen this like in the past like 2-3 years. Like they just always look stiff, stagnant, solid in place. I'm like, but now they're actually moving. They're going side to side. Like, oh, I was like, holy hell, this is like night and day. So massive positive. And just the fact that again, everything I've seen so far and heard, it looks like Zegras can actually play center and that he's comfortable at center and like he's been making plays at center. So that's a massive positive because that's a kind of a question mark going into the season, right? Can he stick at center? So far it's looking like he can. And yeah, and look, like you said again, like last night they had Dvorak on his wing. And actually, I was listening to the post game interview with Zegras. Apparently, they actually know each other and they're actually friends, Dvorak and Zegras.
Yeah.
So that's a positive there too. So maybe there's already an understanding there. They know each other. Maybe they could feed off each other. So look, I have zero issue putting Dvorak there. Personally, I think Cates is the one that's probably going to end up there because if Luchenko doesn't make the team. I think maybe they'll probably put Dvorak at 3C because Dvorak is like he's a legit center. He's a very good shutdown center, so I could see him on a third line. And personally, like you said, like you want to see that Cates, Brink, Forster line still. I think that line's broken up this year. I agree. Because I think Tyson Forster has to take that next step this year, and playing him on a third line, what's that gonna do for the kid? I think he's on the top line with Coots and TK. Honestly, that's my what I think is the quote unquote number one line, like Forster, Coots and TK, because you put that line with Coots and Forster's defensive game. I think you could match that lineup against almost anybody in the league, and you have TK with his speed and his like agility. Plus, like try to defend that line on counterattack. So. But yeah, no, like Zegras, massive positive with the concerning like the power play and his ability to play center. I mentioned Grabenkin before, massive positive. Oh fuck, who else? I had it here 2 seconds ago. But yeah, that's it. York, Cam York, like you said, he's looking really good. He's looking positive. I just wanted to say, I wanted to mention this last episode. I forgot, but. Look, because Cam York's still young, right? Like I think he's 4, if I'm not mistaken. If you like, I'm gonna give you a comp. Now they're very similar in style, they're very similar in size and everything. But Josh Morrissey, okay? If you look at Josh Morrissey's stats, they're very similar to Cam York's, and he didn't take off like points wise until about 26. So I'm just saying, there's still potential there. There's still like. I would love to show you the numbers. I just don't have them in front of me, but like there's potential there, and like he's a big positive, and that's why I don't think the defense is gonna be that bad this year. Because look, Sanheim still looks like Sanheim. York's looking good. Drysdale's looking good. Massive positives. A guy I forgot to mention before, like when we're talking about the young players, but he's not gonna make the team. But still, like Alexis Gendron, like he looked really good in camp. So like maybe he could be another call up, But no, like look, there's a lot of there's a few positives to take away from camp so far.
So to give you a little bit of a breakdown with Josh Morrissey, I just quickly pulled up his stats real quick. I think that is actually a very good comp you just made there. So he didn't really take off till his age 27 season. Before that, 26 points at 22, 31 back-to-back years at 23 and 24. 25, he had 21 points, missed some time due to injury. Actually, no, that was a shortened season. I'm sorry. 21, 22, made a nice step, 37 points. He had a career high in goals at 12. Then 22, 23, as you mentioned, that was the year he took off. He was almost a point per game guy. 78 games played, 76 points, 16 goals, 60 assists. 23, 24, 81 games played, 10 goals, 59 assists, 69 points. Last year, 80 games, 14 goals, 48 assists, 62 points. trending down a little bit, but still really good. Still, that is a number one offensive defenseman right there. That was 2018 Shane Goss's pair, is what you're seeing, at least from a points perspective. So with that being said, I agree. That is a great point you make on Cam York. Patience. A lot of these guys don't develop till about 27. He's only 24. So he's got plenty of time. D-men take longer. We have always emphasized this on the show.
Yep.
Most hockey writers always emphasize this. Be patient with some of these kids. Drysdale, I think, is going to be excellent. York is going to be excellent. You may have two defensemen who could put up good quality points once they hit their prime. So be patient with them. Any final thoughts, Eric, before we wrap things up here?
No, I just like to say that so far, like, I think training camp in general, I'm seeing way more positive than negative. And like we said, yeah, like, would I have loved to see like some of these guys on defense maybe like show a little more, like, because with a wrist injury, we need somebody. But look, at the end of the day, they could always, if they're really not confident in what they have, they could always grab somebody off waivers, maybe a right-hand shot, somebody that, that they think could be better than what they have. Because I think they're going to probably carry 8 defensemen. I think I said this before. I'm pretty sure they're going to go 8 and 13. But we'll see there. But honestly, I think so far, I have to say the positives are outweighing the negatives.
My final thought, I think they will probably, it might be 7, it might be 8. I don't know, because I really just don't know who else you want to carry if you do 8 outside of, I mean, if you do Andre and Zamula as your third pair, I mean, actually, Riss will be on an island, so do you really count him?
No, well, when I say 8, because I think Andre Zamula will probably end up being your third pair. They'll carry Gilbert as the 7. And where I have the 8 is if they're worried that possibly they might lose Grons on waivers, I think they keep Grons. The only thing that now, the way what I would say puts a little, what screws my theory up a little bit is the way Abels has been playing. Because if they do decide, and I think they might, if they do decide to keep Luchenko for at least 10 games, then maybe they go 14 forwards instead. Because again, I don't think they're going to waive Delorier. No. So maybe they keep Abels as the 14th forward and then they go 7D. But, well, we'll see at the end of the day. Because again, I expected Grons to have a better training camp than he's had so far. So I really expected, no, they're going to carry 8D for sure. But, we'll see.
Yeah, it is going to be tough for that last roster spot. I think Abels, I had him on this roster even before this because they signed this guy that they had confidence that he was going to be. I think they signed him to was it a 2-year deal, if I remember correctly? I thought he had 2 years, but I might be wrong on that. But point being, I think they're definitely going to go I think they probably go 14-7 right now. But you make a good point with Grunts. They might be nervous that he could get claimed. Maybe they do keep him. I think Gables might be on this team starting lineup roster. I think he might be their fourth on that fourth line. With it could be him, Hathaway, and maybe they start Verbanken down there. Maybe they move Cates down there. Who knows? There's definitely. Maybe they keep D'Lo in the lineup. There's going to be some things to answer there for sure, and who's going to be where. But I definitely think that 14-7 is a possibility, but we'll see. It could be 13-8 too. I'm going to go 14-7 for now, but I'm not beaming with confidence. And I think you do make a very valid point with Grons. So we'll see. I think Juleson gets launched into the sun. He won't be here. But yeah, that's going to wrap things up for this installment of Flyera Gonna Flyera. Thank you all for tuning in. We are 11 days away from training camp, from regular season as we record this today. Check out some of our prior episodes. Last week's episodes, like I said, a couple weeks ago, we did have a live stream with Flyers play-by-play guy, Jim Jackson. Check that out on our YouTube page. If you go onto the live section, you will see that there. at Flyer Gonna Flyer episode 51. We are at 53 right now, so that was a little bit ago. So, yeah, thank you all for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you guys next week, where we will officially be making predictions for the 2025-26 season, talking about opening night, and finally doing our week ahead predictions for the first time for the year. So, with that being said, thank you all for tuning in. We will see you next week. As always, take care and let's go Flyers.